Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm, New Jersey Dev, JT, and the famous TA.
Hey, Steeler Nation. Welcome to another episode of Steelers Realm Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, JT, and over in the heart of Browns country, it's the famous TA. What's going on, buddy? How you doing, TA?
Not much, JT. Just happy to be here and looking forward to chatting with our guest tonight.
That's right. We'll introduce him in a second. On the other side of the state, New Jersey Dev, who actually is not on the other side of the state and is in a local Latrobe here. What's going on, Dev?
Not much. Just got in today here for the two big games this weekend. You got Penn State, Ohio State tomorrow night, and then the Steelers Ravens on Sunday. So I figured I'd come into town, hang out with the parents. And, our guests certainly spent many a summers here in Latrobe, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, our special guest tonight, we're happy to have him. Our Steel City Star Spotlight Steeler Player of the Week, Orpheus Roye, joining us. The Wedge Buster. Orpheus, welcome to the Steelers Realm, man. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you, man. And, we're going to dig into some of your college days and getting drafted by the Steelers. So let's just jump right into it. Tell us about what you've been up to lately since your playing days.
Pretty much just a whole lot of nothing, man. I just been relaxing a little bit, staying abroad, of trying to know myself.
I hear you there, man. Got to keep on keeping on.
So, Orpheus, do you do any coaching, anything with kids, anything of that nature?
I do a lot. I do a lot of on my list. I do investment properties. I do a little stock. I mess around in the stock market a little bit. So that's my little pastime at the moment. But as far as coaching, I was helping out my high school that I went to. I was helping out with the kids over there. And then, I don't know, I ain't have that. I guess coaching ain't my thing because I ain't have the passion to coach.
Mm-hmm.
I gave insight, but coaching, I realized it's not my thing.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of patience for that stuff there. And that's something I don't have, for sure. But Orpheus, you mentioned you helped out your previous or your old high school in coaching. So I'd imagine growing up, in Miami on those Howard Schellenbecker and Jimmy Johnson Miami teams right in your backyard, a guy like you probably dreamed of playing at the U, even if it was under Dennis Erickson by the time you were at school. But my question for you, Orpheus, is how does a big-time player like yourself that grows up in Miami Springs end up playing for Bobby Bowden at Florida State?
This is not the craziest thing, but one, all my family, they like the Dolphins, and they was a big UM fans. I always wanted to be the odd guy in the family, so I went against what they like. So when they were liking University of Miami, I liked Florida State. And then when they were liking the Dolphins, I liked Buffalo Bills because Bruce Smith was my idol.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So when I was in college, or I was in high school, and I was getting to choose my college I wanted to go to, everybody was telling me go to Florida. Go to Florida, go to University of Miami. Since they said those, I said, no, I'm going to go to Florida State. So that's how I ended up going to Florida State.
Nice. Grew up a Seminole fan in Miami. But I see here after high school, you actually went the junior college route. You attended Jones County Junior College in Ellisville, Mississippi. And
correct.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with Jones County Junior College from watching Last Chance U on Netflix. When they beat, EMCC in the opening game of this, season 2, 27-25. Mostly due to Eastern Mississippi Community College having 32 players ineligible due to the brawl in the previous season. Wow. But the junior college you went to is a football factory, man. You got Deion Branch, Jackie Parker, Damian Wilson, Ellis Langster, Javon Kinlaw, even Jonathan Abram. So can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in the junior college ranks in the early 90s? Because, that was literally your last chance to prove yourself back then as well.
To be honest, I had more fun in junior college than I had at Florida State. I don't know, the experience was just a little different.
In the middle of Mississippi?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing, but I had, like far as the football, the atmosphere, it was just different coming from Miami going to Mississippi. It was a major change. It was a major
A little bit
change.
more slower, a little bit more slower, a little bit more laid
I don't
back.
know if it was just the hospitality, just the people. The people. I guess it was the people and the atmosphere. I guess it was more of a like football atmosphere, and with the people that was there, and added to that, it was just I really enjoyed Mississippi. Yeah, but football. When I got that, I don't know what the history. Yeah, the history was pretty good, but when Parker Dice got the last 2 years, the 2 years I was there, we had turned out to be a nice team within a 2-year span. And it was an amazing feeling, even though we didn't win that championship. But just that journey, those 2 years was one of the apex of my football career.
Nice.
Were the facilities just as terrible back then as they are now in Last Chance U? Have you watched Last Chance U?
Oh man, I saw some pictures or so. No, they first class now. We weren't first class like that. We was more old school.
I hear you.
We ain't had the top notch like they had. It was just, the Snead machines, the tires, and pretty much just going at it. We have all the luxury, the sliding bags, the high-tech stuff they have.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy how big junior college football is down there, and a big following of it in those small towns. It's kind of cool. But after Jones County, you went on to Florida State, as we already mentioned, and you played on some really good teams at Florida State in the post-Charlie Ward era with some really great players. Work done. Derek Brooks, Andre Cooper. He should have had a better pro career. I mean, the dude caught, 15 touchdowns in 95? But Peter Boulware, Dexter Jackson, Peter Wark before he stole all those Kohl's Cash cards. And even Devin Bush is dead. Devin Bush Sr. Not to mention, dude, you had arguably some of the all-time names as teammates. All-time, top names of all time, which is Thad Bubsy, and you also had Pooh Bear Williams as a teammate.
Yeah.
Those are up there with Jimbo Fisher and Jim Bob Cooter, if you ask me. But you too. I'm just going through your college career here. You played in one of the most famous college football games of all time too, the Choke-a-Doke.
Yeah, the comeback.
The comeback, man. From September 92 to September 2001, Florida State played 54 games at Doak, and they didn't lose a single game. That was the closest they ever did come to losing. But long question here, but basically, during your storied college football career, what was your favorite memory, and what was it like playing for Bobby Bowden?
Probably that game. That game, probably because a lot of my family was at that game, that comeback game. Yeah, that was probably one of my best. Yeah, because my family got to experience that with me, so that was probably one of my best experiences. As far as Bobby Bowden, it was just an honor because he had a long history, and with Joe too over at Penn State. So with the long history, the battles with University of Miami. So his name was mentioned a lot. So I became admired by him. When I finally got the chance to play him, it was unbelievable. But yeah, Bobby, he's a brilliant guy.
Orpheus, I wish you were on the video call with us because I actually have a 6-foot-tall cardboard cutout of Joe Paterno right behind me right now.
He's a big Penn Stater.
Yeah, I liked how he looked on the sideline too.
Yeah, I was actually at the Orange Bowl in 2005 when Penn State played Florida State. That triple overtime game, nuts.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, hey, let's jump into draft day in '96. Was hoping you might be able to share your experience on that day and maybe how you felt when you got the call from the Steelers.
I was shocked because I never thought it was the craziest thing because Pittsburgh was my team when I used to play them on Tecmo Bowl. I used to play with Greg Lloyd. That was
Nice.
the team on Tecmo Bowl. So when I got a call from them, I was like, I was almost feeling like how that moment was. I was speechless because I never thought they was going. Because they didn't do no interview when we had the interview sessions or anything like that. So it was a shocker.
Really?
But it was also intimidating because I knew all those guys that was on that team because Pittsburgh was one of my team I played when I played the video game. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was like one of those like aha moments. And then the crazy thing, I sat next to Greg Lloyd when I got drafted.
No kidding.
I was next to his locker, so yeah.
Nice.
That was cool.
Now,
Nice.
Did you ever let him know that you used to pretend to be him on Technobowl?
Yeah, me and Greg, we had a good relationship. He was like my mentor. I gave him my little stories.
Nice. We were speaking of Steel City Star. We were just, they just posted a video of Greg taking out Mark Brunell on some of his runs. Oh, my God. But anyhow, sorry, TA, I didn't mean to jump over you there, man. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask if you could share at least one good story of Mr. Lloyd with us.
Oh, okay, sure. I guess once training camp or it was training camp, mini camp. Once we get drafted, we had to come in.
All right.
So as I had said earlier, they put my locker next to Greg Lloyd, and man, I heard the whispers like, "Oh man, they got a rookie right next to Greg. We can't wait for him to come in." So, and I was already starstruck because that was the guy I played with on the video game, and then I hear the whispers like they set me up, put me next to Greg because I already knew his mentality. As far as like he was, black belt, he was like one of those no nonsense guy on the football field. So I was like already kind of intimidated.
Sure.
So then I heard Greg was coming because I heard somebody say, "Hey, G, they got somebody." They call him G. They say, "Hey, G, they got a rookie next to your locker." He said, "They better not." But I was sitting at my locker, so I ain't want to move to show like I was, so I was stuck. And then I could feel the shadow coming over me. Then I just see footprints behind me. He said, "Hey, Rook, get out of here." I said, "Yes, sir." Then I got up and started walking. He said, "Get back over here. I was just playing with you." They didn't introduce themselves. So that's how we broke the ice with that. Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. Did he make you carry his pads?
That's what I was just going to ask him.
Oh yeah. He didn't. He just made me feel comfortable, but nah, he didn't. I had to earn everything with Greg. That was just a little intro. But once training camp and all that, yeah, he say something, we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were arguably the best draft pick that year. I mean, that was the year we drafted that Jermaine Stevens guy. You guys remember him? Guy right on the 40.
Spence Fisher, Carlos Emmons,
Earl Holmes.
Earl.
Yeah, Earl Holmes. Steve Conley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the receiver, number 80? I can't think of his name. Or was it another year?
Jaheen Arnold.
Was that Arnold?
Yeah, Jaheen Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold.
Fresno State.
Yeah, that was like our little crew. We was the special team crew, all the linebackers, Earl, Carlos, me, Dante Jones.
And then Penn State or John Whitman.
Yep, Whitman. Whit.
Did Jermaine Stevens ever complete a 40-yard dash without passing out?
I know. I was talking about some guys that they were like saying how first round. I said, "Nah, man, that ain't always true." Because Kyle got rid of first round that didn't pass the conditioning test. And that was Jermaine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of special teams, I mean, that was in the early years with the Steelers. you wreaked havoc on special teams. So who came up with a wedge buster?
I don't know. Somebody who did the interview, I guess he kind of threw it out there, and I guess that's what they roll with.
It certainly did stick because we were talking earlier before we came on, and man, some of those plays, I know there's some videos out there, right? Dev, aren't there some videos out there of him wreaking havoc on special teams, busting up wedges, which was the truth.
Yeah, Todd, what's that play you were talking about beforehand?
Well, there was that one on Thanksgiving Day. I'm pretty sure Steel City Star went ahead and put together something for it. And you come running down there, Terry Fair from the Detroit Lions had caught the ball, brought out, and you come out of nowhere. Now, what I will say is it was a good, clean hit. I mean, but you just took him off his feet. You rocked his clock. And I remember him laying there forever and a day. I almost thought he was the one who misunderstood Bettis calling tails instead of heads. Do you remember that play?
Yes, I do. Yes, I remember. That was one of my signatures. That was like, because I didn't see him. That's the thing. I did not see him. I just timed. I just saw him run. I said, if I run straight and he's going how I'm going, we should meet at that point. I did not see him, not one time, until I just ran to the point. And that's why it was because I kind of just say, I'm going to just run straight right here. If he keep coming like he's coming and I'm going, we're going to meet at a point and I'm going to hit him. But I never saw him until I hit him. That's the craziest thing.
He definitely didn't see you, because I thought you almost killed him for a second there.
Well, and the great thing about that play is there was no helmet to helmet. I mean, you just literally rocked his clock. But I would probably have to say in today's age, you'd probably be looking at a fine on Monday morning from the NFL the way we're going. Compared to how you guys played then to now, do you think you would have walked away with the NFL with a paycheck?
Yeah, that's all I did was use my head when I would run down the kickoff. So,
yeah.
Hey, and Terry Fair was no slouch that year. He was a rookie. He's a 20th overall pick in '98, but he led the NFL in kick return yards, 28 yards per return. He actually had 2 kickoff return TDs, and he made the all-rookie team. So there was no slouch returning that kick there.
Nah, it was a couple of them. It was a challenge for me. It was a challenge because everybody just wanted me to be a wedge buster, just to blow. I said, no, I wanted to make sure I could make tackles too. And I always wanted to do that. Even when I was young, I just liked to run it because I had brothers and they toughened me up early. So I always wanted to run into things. Like I liked that feeling, but I never was able to do it. Not in high school, not in college. And it was by accident that I got to do it when I got with the Steelers because all the linebackers got hurt that game. It was mostly all the linebackers that was on kickoff. That Jacksonville game. I think 3 guys got hurt. And Ron Zook was the special team coach. And he remembered me from Florida State. And he just looked around and he said he just called me because he was familiar with my face from Florida State. He told me just get in there and run down there and hit something. Because I think 2 linebackers had went down and we didn't have, I guess there was the backup behind the backup. So he just looked at me and just told me to go in there. And from that day, I finally got what I always wanted to do.
You found your spot.
And I never got off after that day.
Ron Zook, man. I never thought we'd get a Zooker reference on this podcast.
Yeah, really, really. So tell Steeler Nation.
Never.
Tell Steeler Nation what it's like as a player on special teams, just running down there at full bore like that, just wanting to hit somebody. What is that experience like?
Powerful. Well, for me, you can run full speed and run it and hit somebody, and it's legal. Yeah, but you have to warn it. Because I never ran down intimidated, like afraid I was going to get hurt or something. I just said, somebody finna get knocked out. Either going to be a him or me. But that was my mentality.
It's a matter of physics. Object in motion.
Yeah, the more force is going to win. So I try to run fast as hard as I can.
That's true. Nice.
Well, as a Steeler, there's no doubt that you did that because I know statistically with the black and gold, I mean, some of our worst some of our worst seasons was in 98 and 99. I mean, we're coming off of the Super Bowl. We were starting to lose a lot of people. You were with us for 3 years. We really thought you were going to be a staple along that defensive line. And then the Browns came knocking, and they stole you away from us for $30 million. So my question is, looking back, was it worth it? And did you have better memories with the Browns or the Steelers?
Ooh.
Oh, Steelers for sure. I didn't, and the craziest thing, I really didn't want to leave. And they offered.
See, and I don't think
I wanted that offer. I wanted to stay there, but
it's $30 million.
You convince you and do stuff. It wasn't about the money at the time. But it was like, say if it meant to happen, my mentality, if it was meant to happen, it was going to happen.
Yeah.
A new team and all that. I love I was like family to me. I said, I got to go meet some new people. I wanted to stay in Pittsburgh, but things happen.
Yeah.
So went over to Cleveland, and then it reminded me what I had left. But we all, you got a job to do, so I try to do my best. So I think everything happened for a reason, because I got the chance to come back and experience that moment that I always wanted to. So I guess it meant to happen the way it did. But I didn't want to leave when I did leave.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've talked to a few players that have said exactly the same thing. Chad Brown, for one, but at the bottom line, it's a business these days. But how cool was that to come back as a Steeler, though, too, and then go on to be a Super Bowl winning championship team that originally drafted you, too, man. Jeez.
That was the icing on the cake. That solidified my career.
That's some good timing, too.
Yeah, perfect timing. Perfect timing. That's why I say I don't regret nothing, because if anything would have changed, I would have never got that ring or experienced that moment. So I don't take nothing. Everything happened like it's supposed to happen.
Nice.
So
back
Orpheus,
to Cleveland. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Tia.
I was just going to ask you, as a Super Bowl champion, I mean, do you keep that ring under lock and key? Do you bring it out for special occasions? Do you call the boys over and wave it in their faces? I mean, tell us what it's like to have a ring from a Super Bowl champion.
When I first got it, I barely never took it off. I said, I deserved this. So I said I was going to wear it to it. I didn't want to wear it no more. So I wore it. For the first 3 years, I wore it very often. Then lately, I pull it out every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, people like saying, "Okay, we know you got a ring." Okay, people start getting a little jealous and envy. So I was doing it purposely. So after a while, I just stopped wearing it. But every now and then, when it's a good game or something, I'll wear it, let them know.
So that was obviously, your top Steeler memory. But what I'm curious to hear is, do you have any good memories from your time in Cleveland? Is there any? Oh,
yeah, I had some good times. Yeah, I had fun in Cleveland. They didn't all come in the form of winning, but it was some good time in Cleveland.
Yeah. Had to be great having Tim Couch at quarterback and like 7 other dudes after him. Do you remember anything from that 2002 playoff game, though? I have to ask.
Do I? Of course. I thought we had it. I was like, man, I finally get you leave it till, you become competitive because you just, everybody.
Yeah.
I thought we had it, but I knew how the tradition is. It's like we never be, even though you think you lose, we always feel we can win the game. So I was just telling guys, we got to still play, because I know that momentum changed, and man, it went from a smile to a frown.
Complete opposite for us, but I hear you there. That day pitted Kelly Holcomb against Tommy Gunn. That's a match of quarterbacks for the century.
Yeah, there you go.
It was. Well, going back to the Super Bowl, I mean, every time Super Bowl week comes, you always get the stories, about the team staying out late or going to the parties or strip clubs or, whatever there may be. And then the afterwards, the celebrations, things of that nature. Are there any things that happen during that Steelers Super Bowl week, whether it be the game, post-game parade, etc., that maybe nobody has ever heard of that you're willing to share with us tonight?
That nobody heard that I experienced, the team, or somebody just
all
me?
the above. You, the team, something, you caught out of the corner of your eye and you thought, oh my God, I'll never see that again.
I guess the biggest thing I could say, it was just a nobody was acting like the stage was going to be too big. It was just like a normal game to how the guys were. It was just like a normal week of practice or a normal, even though we was at a Super Bowl, it didn't seem like it. Nobody was acting all, it's like we've been here before. That was like the attitude. Nice. Yeah, it was like real laid back. Nobody was tensed up. Nobody was it was just so relaxed. It was like it was the same mentality from training. Well, I got training camp late, but from training camp to the first game, all the way through the Super Bowl, it was like the same schedule, same, nothing changed. Not even the personality of the guys. That was one of the biggest things. I was excited because I never experienced it. And I became calm because everybody else was calm. I didn't get too excited until I stepped on the field.
So in other words, it was act as if you've been there before and let it out on the field and shine.
Yeah. I don't know, we were going to win the game, just what I'm saying? That was just the feel. It was just, how you hear guys going out partying looking for it. It was you didn't hear that. I was a veteran guy. I didn't hear young guys doing it. It was everybody was just focus on what to do just to put on a good performance. Do your job. Mike Chief was always just almost like the Bill Belichick, just do your job.
Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Limited distractions, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any, Kenny Stablers going out and taking a couple hits of acid, drinking a couple beers, and smoking 2 packs of Marlboro Reds. None of those guys in the group.
If it was, it didn't get reported.
Good stuff. Well, hey, if there was one last thing that you want to share with Steeler Nation before we break into the Ravens game, what would that be?
Just amazing city. And I just want to appreciate the love they always gave when I was on that field and keep up the great work because the tradition there is golden.
Well, I got one last question to ask. What was it like since you got to play with probably Steelers Nation's 2 of their at least favorite linebackers, in Greg Lloyd and James Harrison? Are there any difference between the two?
Well, I only knew James that 1 year, but I'd say they was pretty much had the same personality, real great guys, but they have the presence when you see them. That Debo was like a Debo presence, but a real good guy. Greg was the same thing. He had that no nonsense demeanor, but a real good guy. So I guess they were about the same.
If TA is going to get one in here before we let Orpheus go, I got to ask one last question as well. Who was the best coach you ever played for? Bobby Bowden, Bill Cowher, or Mike Tomlin? Or maybe somebody else. Maybe your high school coach or the coach down at Jones County.
Yeah, some good. The one who I say all of them had a little something. I won't say this one particular coach. Each coach was able to bring out something different in me. You know what I'm saying? It's because my high school coach, he brought out something in me. My junior college coach brought something out of me. Cowher, he really brought something out of me. All of them had their unique Bobby was, his presence was more of a inspirational. But like my high school, junior college, Cowa, Mighty, it was just a different way they coached that bring out the best of me.
That's pretty interesting. Well, either on the Browns or the Steelers, one of the biggest rivalries had to be, or one of the biggest games each year, were the two times that you meet the Ravens on the field. We're about to break that down. Going into that game, undefeated, Ravens being 5-1. What's your time like, man? You want to stick around with us and get into the game some, or it's totally up to you?
What's the time? Oh, it's 9. Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut out.
No problem, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you being with us and hanging out, telling some stories. Steeler Nation always looking for players' insight and those thoughts and memories. So appreciate you sharing with it. Let's go Steelers this weekend, man. We'll be pulling for them. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Orpheus.
I appreciate it. I hope
Orpheus, what's your prediction on the game?
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Orpheus, what's your prediction on the game before we let you go? And thank you once again for joining us.
It's going to probably, I say 14-24, Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice. Okay.
All right, and then I just gotta ask you, over or under 3 injuries for both teams?
Probably a physical one. I say under. It's gonna be a big game, so some guys may just be able to fight through it. I say under.
All right.
You're saying 3 each, TA?
I'm just saying 3 total
3 each
between both
3
teams.
total. 3 total.
Because usually somebody's
right.
leaving this game on a
Orpheus.
stretcher.
Yeah, it's true. Well, thanks for joining us once again, Orpheus. We really appreciate it. We'd love to have you back on sometime as well.
Anytime, man. I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, sir. All right. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, Orpheus.
That was our Steel City Star, Steelers Spotlight of the Week, Orpheus Roye.
Yeah. Great to hear. Great to hear stories like that. It was fun watching him. He would blow up holes in those special teams plays, man. No doubt. He was the wedge buster. So
Inside the Wedge Buster.
Inside the Wedge Buster. That sounds like a title for this episode. How about it, guys?
The Wedge Buster.
Yep.
We're going to need one in this game.
So, it's Ravens week. Ravens week. Let's jump into it, tear it up, and analyze it as only yours truly can do on Steelers Realm. Before we do that real quick, though, hey, if you guys are not feeling good out there, don't feel like shopping, make sure to just check out our site, SteelersRealm.com. And up at the top is a link to join Instacart. Just sign up, create an account. They'll do the shopping for you. And also, you'll get a chance to help out your favorite Steelers podcast by doing so. So let's dive into it. Ravens week. All-time history against the Ravens. Steelers 28-24 on the edge.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Nance.
Sat there with this one.
And
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. Another team again. Jim Nance, Antonio Romo will be back again with Tracy Wolfson on the sidelines. Supposed to be decent weather, 63 degrees, 50-50 chance of rain. And the Steelers are going in 6-0. Ravens going in 5-1. And Ravens coming off a bye. So before that, they beat Philadelphia 30-28. And a close one there. But let's jump into the numbers. Get some numbers to go over with you. One of our favorite segments. A little statistics to make you go, So,
man.
TA, why don't you start off with a couple, and then we'll run down through them real quick.
175, JT. 175. Now think about that. Since 2014, the Steelers' offensive line has yielded 175 sacks, which is the second fewest sacks allowed among all NF teams in that time frame. Now, what's amazing about that is through 17 years now, that's all we heard is how Big Ben has been cremated. And
right.
175 sacks from 2014. So we've definitely taken care of that because that.
Do you guys want a breakdown of this sacks?
It's a breakdown. Let's hear it, Dev.
Ben's been sacked 125 times in that time frame. Rudy's been sacked 15. Duck's been sacked 15. Mike Vick got sacked 10 times.
Wow.
Back in 2015. Yeah. Landry's got 9, the old Jonesy, and then AB was actually sacked once.
well, that's
okay.
Stuff
cool.
Because at the end of the day, man, that's going to be key because the Ravens lead the league in blitz percentage, blitzing 46 times, man, on dropbacks. And right now, we've kept Ben upright. Quick passes, throws, only been sacked 8 times this year. 175. Let's keep it right there.
Oh, wow. Geez, with that said, maybe we don't have time for the rest of these, but let's hit a couple more.
Speaking of big old Ben, big old Benny. The next number would be 70.5%. Big old Ben leads the NFL, completing 70.5% of passes versus the blitz this season. This is in part as well due to having the fastest time to throw, 2.2.
Quick draw McGraw.
So,
no. Yep.
Quick draw McGraw.
Excuse me.
Somebody who isn't good against the blitz, and we'll talk about this in a little bit here, is Lamar Jackson. He has not been doing good against the blitz this year, but it also speaks to the offensive line too as well.
Sure.
Especially with the dudes getting shifted around. Next number would be 140. Mike Tomlin currently sits at 139 regular season victories. With victory over the Ravens Sunday, he will pass his former mentor and former Steeler, Tony Dungy, for the most wins by a minority head coach in NFL history. Both are currently tied at 139. Tomlin's 139, 74-1. He's actually currently 12th in league history with 65 games.
Now, you know what's kind of interesting about that, Dev? Is that Tony Dungy was a rookie on the Steelers the last time we were 6-0.
Oh, get fucking one up in the stats here. Shoot.
25.
Take the next one.
This is the one I feel most interesting in. 25th time. That will be how many times Harbaugh and Tomlin have went ahead and went head-to-head. Harbaugh owns this, though. 13-11 advantage, but where it counts is in the playoffs. And right now, Tomlin owns a 2-1 advantage. Tomlin has 6 AFC North titles. To Harbaugh's only 4. Tomlin has never had a losing record. Harbaugh has only had 1 losing season. Both could go down as 2 of the greatest coaches in NFL history by the time they retire. And do you know whose record they're going to break right now, Dev?
I only know the all-time NFL record pre-Super Bowl era and post-Super Bowl era, which is Curly Lambeau and George Halas, which is 48.
Right. But as far as Super Bowl era, they will break, believe it or not, Tomlin will break his own record going against Marvin from the Bengals and Sid Gilman and Hank Stram.
Hank Stram, Curly Lambeau, George Halas, bunch of football guys.
We got history right here in the making.
What's the next one here, Jay?
Well, why don't we not get too comfortable here, guys? There's a lot to do and a lot to get into here before we run out of time.
Let me rattle off these numbers then real quick.
Well, let's get to
last ones. 14-2, the combined record of the Browns, Titans, and Ravens entering this treacherous 3-game stretch. The last NFL team to play 3 consecutive games against teams with 1 or fewer losses starting in week 6 or later, 2004 New England Patriots. We beat them that year, ending their 21-game winning streak, but they got us back in the AFC title and won back-to-back Super Bowls. Next number here, 8.80 miles per hour is the average top speed with 1 second on go routes, within 1 second on go routes of the Steelers wide receivers this season. The Steelers, 4 primary receivers all rank in the top 16 among 77 NFL wide receivers with at least 25 go routes. So what's that mean, folks? The Steelers receiving core can go 0 to 60 in 6.81 seconds. 2, Lamar Jackson has more playoff losses with 2 than wins against the Steelers. And the last number is 1. Out of the last 10 teams to start 6-0, 5 of them have made the Super Bowl, but only 1 have won the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, there you go. With that said, let's jump into it. Lots to do. Ravens offense versus Steelers defense. Before we get into that, what's the injury report looking like, TA?
There's nothing of any significance here. I mean, you got Ingram, who's dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. He didn't participate today. Do I expect him on the field? Absolutely. Robert Griffin, probably ain't going to see him, so that doesn't even matter. The 2 that were full participant that were kind of a little bit iffy were Tyree Phillips and Derek Wolfe. Again, I don't see anything happening there. I mean, all in all, it's going to be the Ravens' 12th ranked offense against the Steelers' 4th ranked defense. And we got some weapons on that offense we got to keep our eye on. I mean, you got Hollywood Brown, cousin of AB, Orlando Brown, the son of the great, Mark Andrews. That's going to be a tough matchup. Ingram, Lamar Jackson, and watch him sprinkle a little J.K. Dobbins in there as well.
Ooh, the guy we wanted. Should we break down the first matchup, JT? I think this is one that you highlighted.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest. I think this is going to be the biggest matchup. And based on what the Steelers did with Bud Dupree last week, I don't know. Is he going to spy him? So, and that's the matchup against Lamar Jackson. I think my key to this game is obviously, and probably the most obvious key is let's minimize the running game and don't let Lamar Jackson beat you with his feet. Make him beat you with the pass. So the question is now, are we going to see Bud back in the middle again? Or, are you going to help give him some help with Spillane? Some help also trying to cover do you put him out on the edge and then use him as a blitzer or the pass rush from the outside to contain him? So
well, I think right now that's an interesting question. I mean, right now we don't know if Hilton's going to be game time or not. I'm hoping he's back because if anybody's got the speed to go ahead and keep him contained, it's going to be Hilton. If not, I would not be surprised if you see them slide Cam Sutton in there, or we see a little bit more of Ulysses this week than we did last.
Well, speaking of Ulysses, he did not practice today. It was a back issue, I believe. I don't know if you heard that or not.
A little bit of spasm, but, little cortisone, he'll be fine by Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like JT said, though, we got to force Jackson to throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's coming in with a 56.6% completion percentage over the last 4 games. I mean, his 2020 stats compared to 2019 through 6 games, it's like night and day. And one of the things that stands out to me is, through 6 games in 2019, he had 1,507 yards passing, 11 TDs, 5 interceptions. But let's talk about those 5 interceptions through 6 games, because 3 of them came against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that we fumbled away. And not only did he set career highs or lows in that game against the Steelers with interceptions, but he had just 161 yards passing in that game. His passer rating was 54.9, which was a career low, and he was sacked 5 times.
Right.
Which is a regular season career high.
And I think we kept him well under 100 yards on the ground, too. It was like 79 yards or something like that.
But it gets even better, JT, how terrible he's doing this year. Lamar Jackson against the blitz, his stats are down across the board. That's where he tore teams up last year. You know, he had 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last year, 7.8 yards per attempt. His completion percentage was in the 60s. His passer rating against the blitz was 117.4. This year, 59.3% completion percentage, 5.6 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But here's the kicker, 71.8 passer rating, which is the 3rd lowest in the NFL.
Oh, wow. Wow. So there, that stands to reason then, I guess. And then TA, it sounded like you were going to.
Yeah, I was just going to say
something.
we've talked about this before. I do not personally feel that Lamar Jackson is an NFL quarterback. He is an NFL running back. We have done a great job of containing the run.
Right.
As long as we contain the run, we're going to be all right. But the biggest thing we're going to have to worry about is one outlet guy that he really loves to throw to is Mark Andrews.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Who's he going to be matched up against, you think?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Edmunds?
Is probably going to get the call, and let's face it, Edmunds has been having a very good year. I know JT, he's not your cup of tea, but the kid's been playing some solid football.
Well, and I think, just like we said last year, I think he excels when they bring him down into that linebacker or kind of hybrid position in there as a bigger guy like that versus coverage skills. So let's hope we get some support there and can minimize. You're not going to stop that guy, but if you can at least minimize the damage and
specifically,
he's got like 5 TDs this year.
Yeah, and on 3rd down possession plans.
Yeah, he's got 20 catches and 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's catching a touchdown on 25% of his catches. He's Lamar Jackson. I almost said Mark Jackson. He's Lamar Jackson's favorite target, hands down in the red zone. But Edmunds has been playing exceptionally well. Last week he shut down JuJu Smith, who we previewed in the pregame.
Mm-hmm.
Smith only had 4 targets, 1 reception, 9 yards, and he made that big play in the end zone against him. So there's a reason why he's ranked the number 8 safety in the league right now for lowest passer rating allowed.
Which I'm pretty sure at this time Steelers Nation will take considering where he came from, and we all thought he was a reach at 1. So hats off to Edmunds.
Sure. Yeah, really.
He said he enjoys playing in the box too. Maybe we can convert him to a linebacker.
I've been tooting that horn for a year. So, well, let's see. A good coach will put the right players in the right position to succeed. So, let's see. Let's look at the receiver matchups with Mike Hilton kind of nicked up. We'll see who's going to go up against Snead.
It's going to be Snead, or do we think it's going to be Hollywood? I mean, who do we think that's really going to have the best? I know Snead's come on this year. He's had 11 receptions on 15 targets on the year and 1 TD. He's burned us before. They always seem to go to him. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just not quite sure we got to worry about Snead. Maybe for that one-trick play. Not the whole entire game.
He's their possession guy. I mean, Hollywood Brown's going to be keyed on. We're going to be keying on him with Joe Hayden.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Snead because he burned us before. You remember back in 2018? We were playing the
But if I remember
Ravens?
correctly, last year we had a little something for him in a name of Mr. Nelson, who shut everybody down last year.
You're correct there.
All right.
Correct there. He makes big-time catches, though. Back in 2018, he made that big catch on 3rd down when we had all the momentum at the end of the 3rd quarter. Extended the drive, they scored.
I think Snead would be a great wide receiver if he was still playing with Drew Brees.
That's true. He's got a running back for a quarterback. So is Mike Hilton healthy? If he's not, who steps up? Cam Sutton? After his cryptic late-night Instagram post on Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Traded?
What's that?
Well, he gave the deuces, I guess. So people assumed he was being traded. Or, in my opinion, I think a guy like Justin Lane. Did you guys watch the end of the game last week? We brought him on the field
He played admirably.
You know what? I didn't.
He held his own with A.J. Brown.
Yeah, man, there's a reason. There's a reason for it. All right, let's keep moving. Des Bryant got picked up to the practice squad this past Tuesday. Are they going to throw him out there? Is he going to be a little bit of bait? What's he got left in the tank?
Well, I'm pretty sure
worth
he's not
talking
going
about?
0 to 60 in 1.6 seconds. Is that what you said, Dev? 6.81. I don't think he's hitting that top gear. And I think the only reason they brought him in is because he didn't have somebody tall enough to go ahead and impersonate Chase Claypool. I think he's just a flash in the pan.
I don't think they signed the guy just to keep him on the practice squad. I mean,
No.
he has been out of football for 2 years. He hasn't taken a snap since 2017, but Baltimore receivers rank last in the league in receptions with 58 and receiving yards of 737. So I think they're looking for a big dude to take the heat off Brown.
If you don't,
dude with
and if you
good
don't have a
possession
quarterback to throw it to you, you're going to be low in the league on all of those statistics.
Goes back to that. Everything goes back to that. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So who do you think advantage goes to there? Steelers D? We didn't really talk about Watt or the linebackers much. What's that matchup look like? Just in a quick 30
Steelers
seconds.
ranked number 1 in sacks per game at 4.3, and the Ravens ranked second at 3.7. You know you're going to get your sacks in there. I think where this is going to come down to is can we contain Lamar? Nothing big up the middle, and I think the rest of the falls into place. I'm going with the Steelers defense.
Yeah, I think if we force him to beat us with his arm, Steelers defense. My only question is where the hell's Chris Wormley? I thought we won up the Ravens with that signing.
With that deal, yeah. Where is he?
Trade.
And he's
on the sideline.
No, he's a little on the
practice
injured
past
reserve
2 days.
there.
Yeah. All right. All righty. Well, let's transition over. Let's transition over to Steelers offense versus the Ravens D.
Ravens D, as we know. I mean, the names of, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, Niobe, and C.J. Mosley. I mean, they're all gone. I mean, Ravens used to do a very good job of homegrown in them. Now we're just picking them up. They got Calais Campbell. They've also got Yannick Ngugukuhiu, who they just picked up. Earl Thomas, Marcus Peters.
They don't got Earl Thomas anymore.
Oh, that's right. They did release Earl. I forgot about that. I forgot about the little. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I guess my point. Yeah, I guess my point being to this is, I mean, when you look at their defense, there's nobody. I mean, they've got some big names. Let's not get it wrong. But it's nobody that we remember as far as true grit and who we're going after. What's the rivalry? What's the fight? I think it's going to be in the trenches, and it's going to be Calais Campbell and Yannick. And how good is Yannick going to be? This is his first game. Does he fully understand the defense? And we do have Marion Humphrey, who, I mean, last year, let's face it, we could have won that game if he wouldn't have knocked that ball. Not once he try, but the second time he succeeded against JuJu. So, I mean, this is a defense that can put the hurting on you. And let's not be mistaken. They are number 1.
They are. They certainly are. I'm just disappointed you left Tony Saragusa off that list of.
I didn't go that far back. Come on now.
Wow, that's getting.
Yeah, speaking of large defensive tackles, the first matchup will be Calais Campbell versus David DeCastro / Matt Feiler. The reason I say this is because they flip Campbell around from lining up, in front of the right guard or left guard, depending on the situation. He's a very versatile player who can also drop back in coverage. He's got 5 passes defended this year. He's got 4 sacks on the year, and he had 3 of those last week against the Eagles. And he was actually lined up over the right guard, Javon Brown, for all 3 of those sacks. The Eagles promptly released Jamon Brown after that game. But, he's played against the Steelers 4 times, 2 with Arizona, 2 with Jacksonville. Nothing really to write home to mom about. I mean, I guess 2.5 sacks, 15 total tackles, 3 tackle for loss, 8 quarterback hits. In the playoffs, he has nothing to write home about. So, Feiler's only allowed 2 sacks on the year. DeCastro hasn't allowed a sack. Ben's been sacked 8 times. Our O-line's faced some big-name pass rushers the past 2 weeks. So here's the question. Do we bring Dotson in if DeCastro is ineffective? We asked it last week. We got to ask it again.
No, because I tell you what, I got to hand it to DeCastro, man. He come in seamless. He looked like he was ready to play.
Yeah.
But it's reassuring to know Dotson's on the sideline. I would tell you what I wouldn't mind.
That's a good point.
Seeing them bring Dotson in on a jumbo package.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
There
Henry
you go.
Mado again.
Only as long as he's lining up
yeah.
in the fullback position.
We do have to give a quick shout out to the offensive line. We've lost Zach Banner for the season. Feiler's been shuffled to right guard. DeCastro's missed some time at right guard, yet Ben has only been sacked on 3.6% of his dropbacks, which is pretty high up there in the NFL rankings. So,
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, too. And, I like their philosophy that they went into the game last week with, which is a pretty good one, and that's keep the other team off the field and possess the ball with the running game, mix of, short passes, just the control game. I like the results they got last week, and, I think that's going to follow through to one extreme or one extent or another on this week as well, too. So the less Lamar Jackson's on the field, the better you are. That's
DA, you already kind of teased the next matchup.
from Captain Obvious there.
Oh, yeah. Marion Humphrey and JuJu Smith-Schuster. I mean,
Dude, it's Marlon.
Marlon, Marion. Look, like I told you, this isn't your dad's Ravens team anymore. I mean, Humphrey doesn't mean nothing to me except that he's got a pretty good tomahawk chop. And he goes trying that stuff on Chase Claypool. He might end up breaking a forearm. So I'm kind of hoping I get to see that. But at the same time, he has owned JuJu a little bit. And let's face it, he's third on the team in tackles with 36. He's got 2.5 sacks, 5 passes defended, 1 interception. I mean, the big one, though, is he's got 4 forced fumbles on the year already. If our guys
Looking like friggin' Peanut Tillman out there.
I know. If we don't turn around and hold on to the ball when this guy is in the area, we have not paid attention. And JuJu's probably going to be lining up in the slot. Now, my question to you guys, even though we said JuJu would probably line up in a slot this year, who is truly going to be our go-to wide receiver? Because we have shuffled the deck all year long. Do we get physical and we see Chase and JuJu with throwing Deontay in the slot as a possession, or even James Washington?
Yeah. I think JuJu is still going to be the go-to guy. He's had 14 receptions this year on 3rd or 4th down. 11 of those have gone for first down conversions. So he's still going to be that go-to guy. But to answer your question, I think they need to get Claypool more involved vertically. Our second half game plan fell apart last week because we could not get him involved in one-on-one situations. And that's something that we have to do against this team.
But then again, even if we don't get him on one-on-one, you've got 4 other guys that are still pretty stout that should be able to take care of the rock, including Eric Ebron.
Yeah. They all go 0 to 60 in 6.81 seconds.
That's just as fast as my Ferrari.
James Washington's actually the fastest. He's ranked 6th in the league. Like 9.85 miles per hour, some shit like that.
Well, here's
Got to test the secondary vertically, though.
here's something that's funny.
Yeah, definitely.
We have 5 wide receivers that have had 185 or more receiving yards this year, but there's only 2 Ravens that top that mark.
That's why they rank dead last in the league. 737 receiving yards.
And I think the other thing is we need to continue our 3rd down conversion rate, because right now we're ranked 3rd at 51.2. We need to continue to convert on 3rd down and chew up that clock, as JT's always mentioned.
Yeah.
Keep the weapons off the field.
I thought you were going to say, I think the other thing is they got a running back thrown to him, a quarterback. for like the 10th time tonight.
Did we already mention that, Dev?
In case we didn't mention that already.
I got friggin' Barry Sanders at quarterback back.
Barry.
What's the final matchup here? Let's power through it. We got Patrick Queen versus James Conner.
Yep. I mean, and Conner has been doing it quietly and humbly, boys. No injuries. Yeah. Start knocking on wood, Steelers Nation. Yep, start knocking on wood.
Yeah. The Queen, hey, he's only a rookie at LSU, but people are already comparing him to Terrell Suggs. Hopefully he doesn't turn out to be as big of a
pain in the butt. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, JC, man, gone over 100 yards in 3 of his last 5 games. And healthy now for 5 straight games. It was the first game that he kind of left early, right? But he's been healthy since.
He was dealing with a little bit of an ankle.
What's that been key on, though, JT? What does that help us do?
Something me and Papa Son were going over crazy is that time of possession. How much they just own the clock. Steelers are leading the league in time of the possession with 33 minutes, 55 seconds average time of possession.
Just say 34 minutes. That's close enough, JT.
Yeah. Yeah, which is...
This is next gen shit here, bro. They're actually, over the past 3 games, 35-08, which is first, and 34-10 on the road, which is third. Night and day compared to last year. Yeah, we ranked 26th in the league last year. 28 minutes and 47 seconds per.
Well, why do you think I was? Because we couldn't convert on third down, so 3 and outs don't lead to much time off the clock. But anyhow, who's the
tennis stars?
Who's a hidden gem that we need to watch out for on D?
Todd's already blew his load on this whole friggin' matchup and the guy to watch out for. So just
it's got to be the new guy, man. Right. I mean, we do not know what we're going to face. We've got tape on him in Minnesota, but that's Minnesota's defense. We don't have any tape on him in the Ravens defense. We don't know how they're going to use him. But let's not make no mistake. I mean, his regular season stats against us, man, in 2 games is 3 quarterback hits, 1 sack, 3 tackles, and 1 for a loss. Playoff stats versus us 1 game was 1 sack, 3 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 quarterback hits, 1 pass defense. This guy's going to be a difference maker in some way or another. So just keep your eye on that. It's going to be how we contend both him and Calais.
Sacks on the year, he's been dominating. They're gonna move him around though.
So
our biggest challenge, the line
in the trenches. It all starts in the trenches.
Yep, in the trenches. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? We fared pretty good against Philadelphia, who was tough. A lot was said about. Well, not so much about the Titans, but I think we've shown a lot of flair and a lot of talent in the trenches there. I'm pretty confident.
Especially running the ball, too, which the crazy stat about this with JC's carries is 29.5% of his carries have come with the opposing defense having at least 8 or more defenders in the box, which is the 7th most in the NFL. Do you know how many yards per carry the Steelers are averaging on those plays? 5.7 yards per carry.
Wow.
On rushes. When the other team has at least 8 guys in the box.
8 in the box. Wow. That has to be up top, too.
That's a polling game, man.
So, Ravens, if you're listening, you better bring 9.
Well, 8+.
Or get faster. Faster in pursuit.
Polling, man.
Yeah, and they're sealing the edge well. And, and who's helping out on that? Is the receivers.
Oh, they've definitely been blocking. I mean, Hines Ward is sitting in Georgia somewhere smiling on a couch thinking, I started that.
All right. Sounds good. So, overall advantage, Ravens D, Steelers O.
Man, this is going to be a tough one, JT. I might have to give the Ravens D on this one here. They're no slouch. They never have been. This is going to be smash mouth football. They've had an extra week to prepare. Harbaugh is 10-2 coming off the bye. He's got the best record in the NFL from 2008 till now at 36-13 in the month of November. We just happen to be on the month of November. It's going to be a dogfight. How many times are we going to see the stretcher come out in the field? So I'm giving it the Ravens defense.
Okay, Dev.
Toddy stats.
Toddy stats.
Bring your
Bring
dog
'em.
colors.
We're going to need to contain them.
Yeah, I think the Ravens have a clear advantage here. Hopefully, JuJu gets a shot at redemption against Humphrey.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking this one's a wash here. If I was to be generous, this is a wash. No advantage either way, but I think it boils down to, this one may boil down to which defense plays better.
That's exactly what it's going to boil down to.
I think I'll take our defense on that. So, with that said, let's get into some predictions. Spreads down to settled at 4, right, Dev?
Yeah, it opened at 6.5. So, hey, man, the whales out in Vegas, they like us. They liked the Titans last week, but they like us this week.
Well, we did move up in the power rankings, at least off of NFL. Still behind KC, but number 2 now and above the Ravens. So
yeah, what are the Ravens at number 3?
Yeah, right behind Steelers. Yep, and number 3.
Number 3. The over-under is 46.5. It opened at 49.
Okay.
You guys see what I'm doing here?
I think that's high.
A real high.
Nobody caught that. It's super high, but it dropped down from 49 to 46.5. So what do you got, JT? What do you got here?
All righty. Well, you heard it from Orpheus. He went 24-14 Pittsburgh.
I stumped them with that question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, made him think a little bit. Definitely. I wouldn't go that far under, but I'm thinking I'm going to go 27. (27-24). Same as last week score.
Taking a page out of Todd's book here.
Yeah, going 27-24 Steelers. Full ahead.
I'm going
maybe even in a last-minute field goal by the Boss.
Ooh, the Boss.
The Boss.
We'll let the reigning champion, go last here. I'll skip ahead of him, but I'm going Steelers 19-16. Here's why. Since 1999 head-to-head matchups, Steelers-Ravens, the series history is tied 23-23. Steelers are averaging 19.5 points per game. The Ravens in that time span have been averaging 20.3 points per game. So it just goes to show just how close this rivalry is.
Wow.
So at 19-18,
there's one guy we didn't talk about, and that's old Justin Mother Tucker. And I hope we do not see him at the end of the game, because you guys realize that the last 7 of the past 10 games have been decided by 7 points or fewer. Normally, it's a 3-point dog chewing your knuckles. Something tells me that we're going to take a little jump and we're going to contain. We're going to go out of the box on this one. I really am. And I know it's against my better judgment, but I am going to go 31-17 Steelers. I try to.
Oh, my.
Do you ever think inside the box?
Well, guys, I don't know if you think back to our early predictions. The on-the-road game was the one I predicted the Steelers to lose at the beginning of the season. I picked we were going to lose one of those, and most likely the one at Baltimore. But yet, I'm still going with the Steelers this week because I think we can pull it off.
Well,
we've seen a lot of things different since the beginning of the season too with this team, and based on that, and
here's one last thing that I like.
Comfortable.
This is the first time Big Ben and Lamar square off. They have never played each other.
Oh, good point.
I got a feeling the old man has been itching to school the young man. And I think he's going to come out on fire. And we have one advantage. There will not be 60,000 sitting in the seats.
That's true. That's a good point, too. That's a good point. So, well, let's do this. Let's jump out of the realm and into the kitchen, which is the AFC North.
It's getting hot, JT.
It's hot. It's hot in the North. It's hot in the kitchen.
Torture.
Yeah. So Ravens had a bye last week, and with the Steelers, which we just obviously just talked about, Browns took it to the Bengals, who ended up coming back and making a game of it. They faced the Raiders, who took out the one Kansas City loss. So they have no easy contest. Bengals, after losing to the Browns, take on the Titans this week, who I'm sure are kind of itching to get back in the win column there too. So it doesn't appear to be getting any cooler in the AFC North as far as that kitchen goes there.
Yeah. Maybe it could be a hangover for the Titans. Hangover game. Those are the worst. Big time hangover. I'll go through this here quickly because once again, nobody's listening. But if people still are listening, you're making some money off of me. Degenerate Dev's lock of the week. I went 2-1 last week. Positive again. I'm 13-8 on the season. You'd be plus 5 units. You'd be plus 5 units right now. So my 3 picks though, it's Carolina minus 1.5 versus the Falcons. Maybe Todd Gurley will accidentally roll into the end zone again, much like Penn State's running back Devin Ford, who did the same thing and lost the game because of it.
Yeah.
Don't want to get into that. Detroit plus 3 versus Indy. Stafford's on a tear. Kenny Galloway's going off, dude, this year. And then I got New England. I got Cam coming back after having terrible weeks. He had his bout with COVID. I got them plus 3.5 at Buffalo.
At Buffalo. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, follow me, man. You'll make some money. You'd be up 500 right now if you're only betting 100 on a game.
Nice. Well, way to go, guys. Man, biggest game of the year so far. Looking forward to it. So, good breakdown. I think we brought up some good points, Steeler Nation. Let us know what your thoughts are, and don't hesitate to come back and check into our soothsayer as we point out the key facts of the game in advance. TA, the soothsayer. Don't forget to come back and compare post-game.
Toothy Q.
Anyhow, big guest coming up next week too. Or not next week, but post-game to help us break down the Ravens game. Our new friend and former Steeler, Randy Fuller, coming back this Monday podcast too. So looking forward to having Randy back again. He has never short of things to say and comments to make on the team. So Orpheus Roye, thanks again, man, for hanging with us tonight. Thanks for your insight, and looking forward to having you back too as well. Steeler Nation. Ravens week. Let's go Steelers. We'll be in front of our big screens watching them on. So, guys, good to hang with you again. Careful in the hot tub. We'll catch you next time.
Steelers Nations, if you ain't got it ordered, get your defibrillator now. We're going to need it. Good night, Steelers Nation.
Steeler Nation, we forgot to give our boy Billy Badass a shout out. He beat the DUI rap. He's going to do ARD. It's like it never happened.
Oh, wow. That's right. That's right.
And see, it pays.
Leave you at that.
It pays to have friends in big places. Who else could put a car through a pharmacy and walk away?
Exactly. Windows fixed. DUI is expunged after 2 years of Probo. And the Steelers are going to get a W on Sunday, and Billy Badass is going to be calling the game. We'll catch you guys later.
Check back next week into the Steelers Realm podcast.